Suleiman Rahim here. Welcome. Messenger of the Covenant, breaker of the seven seals. Let's bring in our audio audience here. This is the Black Alert segment of the Fire Zone. Welcome. Brothers and sisters, we have a lot to talk about today. So relax, open your mind, open your eyes, because there's a lot of things we're going to cover today. So let's proceed. Well, the title is Son of Man, because all this, in one way or other, connects. That's why it says he will come in a volume of the books, means that just about most of the information in the scriptures is addressed in him, come by different names: Daniel, Joshua, Jesus, Suleiman, Jonah, Job. There are aspects of his life. So when you put all those things together, you get a comprehensive view of who he is, what he would be like. See, because they gave us an image in our mind of what this Jesus or Joshua would look like. And Jesus and Joshua is the same name. It's just different languages. And when you control a person's information, you control their actions. Because your actions, your decisions are based on information you have. And they've been controlling information for the last 500 years. And so that's the reason why you're acting like you're acting. And you're not going back and checking. They've taught you not to go back and check the information, see if it's correct. Edit it. So you accepting what they tell you, and they're your enemy. You don't even accept them as your enemy anymore. In fact, you look at your own self as enemy, your own people your enemy. And your real enemy, you don't see as enemy. And they have you going around attacking their enemies, create enemies for yourself. It's a mess, brothers and sisters. It's a mess. That's the situation that Negro butts. When they made Negro butts 540 years ago, that's what the result is. See, the first Negro bus came off the assembly line in 1619. It took 64 years to program them. So they went in, Kunta Kinte came out Toby. See, my name is Matt Richardson. Really? Jamie Scotland. Really? There was brands. They were not names. I can't emphasize that enough. They were not names. They didn't give them to you as names. They gave you as brands, just like they would get cattle and horses brands. Because that name changed, that brand changed depending on what master you was with. So if you changed masters, if you was owned by Master Richardson and you was switched to Master Scotland, then you became Jamie Scotland. And now you walk around proud of those names, and they laugh at you. They laugh at you behind your backs. They know they still own you. They still know you're programmed. Because when you walk with those names, they know you're still programmed. See? They know you're still programmed. And those you calling yourself Muhammad that Farrakhan gave you, you're still programmed. See, that's one of the tricks to make you think you're not programmed. Because like Muhammad deprogrammed you, so you watch out now. See, you watching out now. Because that was one of his main features. Get rid of that name. So Farrakhan couldn't do that. So you say, oh, y'all named Muhammad. See, while he was reprogramming you again. So that's all you're telling everybody. You walk around, oh, my name is this. Well, if you're a demon, those are your names. If you want to master black-faced children, those are your names. If you're Denzel Washington, that's your proper name. Because you want to master children. You're a demon. Half demon, half man. Well, if you're original and you walk with those names, you're just a fool. Because why would you want to carry those names around? Okay, brothers, I don't want to dwell on that because there's so much information we're going to cover today. But this issue about Son of Man, so you got all these people, they tell me they want to be Son of Man. See, Son of Man just means Solomon. That's where it comes from, is a play on words, Solomon. It's not means he's the son of a man. Elijah Muhammad took that point of view. That's we take enough from him, but it means it's come from Suleiman, because David, Farad Mas from Muhammad is David, and his son was Suleiman, because it tells you in the scripture says Suleiman is supposed to be from David. I mean, son of man is supposed to be from David. So isn't son of man descended from David? Right? That's another way of telling you that, because David's son, the one that actually built the temple, the wisest one of all, his name was Solomon. And son of man, that's another Suleiman. Solomon, son of man. So, I put that out there for you, bro. We're going to cover a lot of stuff. We're going to reveal a lot of stuff, because we're talking about the AL-INJIL. See, and it reveals everything, so we're going to reveal a lot of it today. See, I'm not going to really rush it, but I'm not going to go into a lot of detail either, because we're going to cover a lot of stuff. So I'm going to give you some information to work with, because that's the problem, brothers and sisters. It's not your fault. See, we're going to talk about that too. It's not your fault, because your information that you've been given has been limited. So you make decisions based on information being limited. That's why it says the angel, the book of Revelation had to be sealed, be exposed at the end to give you the proper information. And even though you may not realize it, the information is affecting you. And pretty soon it's going to override all that bad information, because if you're drinking bad, dirty water and somebody's offering you clean water for free, right? You're going to start, after a while, you're going to realize that's clean water. You're going to stop drinking that dirty water. You see? When you get the clean water in abundance, it doesn't cost you anything. That dirty water they give you, got to pay for it. You got to pay the preacher to hear that BS, right? You got to pay cable to watch that crap on TV news. You got to pay for all the bad water they're giving you. But this is a free gift. This is free, and you can prove everything we're talking about here, everything. But see, you train not to listen to it. You're trained not to listen to it. No. Like I was talking to sister the other day, right? And I was asking, I said, you're not gonna listen to any black man. I said, you don't even realize it. I said, do you know any black person on TV or anywhere that you would trust to give you information? And she thought about it and said, no. Because that's the way they trained you. You ain't gonna listen. This bitch about hidden figures, they didn't show the black people. See, I know about that. I knew about that for years. But they finally made a movie out of it. I was kind of surprised. Every now and then they kind of exposed themselves. But there was men involved in that too, black men. But they didn't tell that, because they just can't bring themselves to show that there could be black men as wise as white men. They can't do that one. They'll go with the sisters, but they won't go with the brothers. Okay, let's move on, brothers. Just like I said, we got a lot to cover here. And a lot of it will sound like disjointed, not connected, but we'll see. Son of man, Suleiman, that's where it comes from. See, Farrakhan claimed he's a son of man. He says, now he says Farad, son of man. He was saying he's a son of man. He don't know who he is. He's Peter. And every time he adopts one of these figures, right? See, hide on a rock. Every time I lift a rock and expose him, then he go find another rock to hide under. See, so now he's I don't know who he's supposed to be now. Because last Sunday he said, well, no, I'm a son of man, but they wasn't saying that for years. He was supposed to be this originator. So, I mean, it changes like the weather. But I guess that's why it tells you, watch the weather. That boy is a stone demon fool. Okay, well, what's here? What's this? Now, you brothers and sisters, the audio, you're going to miss a lot of this, but we include the audio video version as a link, right? Because the only way you're going to really appreciate a lot of this, you're going to really need the visual, right? But some of this, you can pick up on some of it. It means, but if you do really appreciate it, you have to see the link. You have to see the visual. Read I'm showing this here because that's what pressure looks like. Molecules bumping into each other. And the more violent, the more intense the collisions, that's the greater the pressure. See? So I'm showing this because we got two nations here together in America. See? And they're colliding with each other constantly. But they have different natures. Because if you got iron balls or steel balls colliding with porcelain balls, right, then steel balls might get dense, but porcelain balls are going to get cracked and destroyed. See? But that's the nature of pressure, because our whole reality is pressure. I can't emphasize that enough, brothers and sisters. if you want to understand your reality, don't go to the preacher, don't go to the church, don't go to the synagogue, don't go to the temples and stuff. Study pressure. Pressure is the nature of reality. And when you understand pressure, you understand the scriptures, because all the scriptures is based on that same mathematics. I've already shown it. I'm going to show a little bit of it today. That's what I'm showing it. Because Suleiman, he's looking at the pressures. See, he's not just looking at the angel and the Quran. He's looking at the mathematics of the whole situation. Because Elijah Muhammad told you Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam. So that means if you understand the mathematics, then you understand Islam. But if you don't understand mathematics, you don't know Islam. These people don't know enough about Islam. They keep telling, oh, I'm this and I'm that, right? They don't know shit. They don't know anything about Islam. Because they don't know mathematics. If they claim they follow Elijah Muhammad, if you say you follow Elijah Muhammad, then show me the math behind the bullshit you teaching. Show me the math behind it. Because I show it to you all the time. Show me the math behind it. Because if you don't, that means you don't know what the hell you're talking about. If Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam, you should be able to translate it into mathematics in an instant. If you really know Islam. If you say Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam, you should know the math behind it. You need to be expressed in mathematical terms. And you can't, because you're a liar. And see, all these clowns, they want to be Solomon, they want to be Suleiman. See, because they looking to make merchandise out of you. They got stars in their eyes. Oh, I'm going to be like Elijah one day. I'm going to have all these followers and stuff. And they don't know shit. They don't know anything. They didn't see COVID coming. They don't understand this war is coming. They can't tell you about how this war is going to break out and how it's going to fall, turn out. They can't tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. They can have what's happening next year. They didn't see any of this coming, none of it. This caught them off guard, just like caught Farrakhan off guard. They ran the COVID 2,020 miles per hour. It's like everybody else did, crashed right into the wall, like silence on all of them. None of them saw it coming. And they should have, because these are people claiming the disciples of Elijah Muhammad. That was an easy call. Because Elijah Muhammad says that we came over in 1555, it took 64 years to turn us into slaves. 64 years to corrupt us, turn us into slaves, turn us into Negro butts. He didn't say use the word Negro butts, I'm using it. But that's what they did. Turns into Negro butts. See? So 1690, and he said all this is based on the Abrahamic covenant. If you don't know the Abrahamic covenant, brothers and sisters, you need to read, because they don't want you to know about it. They slammed that door in that with Martin Luther King, because he went and talked, he told you about it. Read the Promised Land speech. That was the last speech. They don't talk about that speech, because they shut the door on that one, because they told him don't get that speech. He gave it, the next day blew his brains out. Because they're not supposed to get a speech. That's Abrahamic covenant. That's the true our true identity and our true future, right, that they don't want us to know anything about. Read the whole thing. Farrakhan, just read the first sentence, first verse. You don't read the hard part. We're going home, and we're going to inherit the best part of planet Earth, and all these different things and that. But anyway, just like I said, I don't want to get too far afield. I don't want to get distracted at all. But anyway, 1619 to 2019 is 400 years. And then it says, immediately after will be a plague that will kill the firstborn, which is the same thing as the elderly. I've been telling you about it. It happened right on time, 2020. Is that a coincidence? And it said, but pass over you. See, the Jews told me it's Passover now because they claim that that's their history. It's not. See, that's foresight. That was your purpose that your ancestors gave you, but they blind you by telling you it's hindsight. So you think it's stuff happened in the past. No, it's you're living it right now. And once you understand that, then your foresight will come back to you. That's what anybody, Jesus or Joshua, gave sight to the blind. It didn't mean physical sight. It means he gave you foresight again. Because it's been taken away from you. Foresight, scripture of foresight. It's about what's about to happen. That's why I call it prophecy. Prophecy. So, and it would pass over us. And that's exactly what happened. They tried to lie to you in the beginning, say, oh, it's killing black folks, dropping like flies. And then it was revealed that it's not affecting black Africa. They was almost totally immune to it. They're not wearing a mask or none of social distancing, and it wasn't affecting Haiti. And they started wiping out the president. They got rid of President Haiti, and they got rid of some President Africa for the same reason, because they didn't want that exposed. And the World Health Organization, called WHO, revealed it about weeks back, I think a month or so back, that They didn't understand it, but it wasn't affecting Black Africa, a place where Black folks live. But then they stopped. They don't talk about it. They talk about it anymore. It's killing Black folks like flies. They stopped talking about it because it was a lie. It may be killing the demons, masses, Black folks, black-faced baby children. You know, that's what demon is. It means you got a devil father, right? But non-devil mother. And it's so bad because of all the rape and everything they did to us. They said half of the blacks in America are demons. And you see them on TV and news. You see them all over the rich and famous, the stars, Hollywood, because they're successful in this reality, because this is reality built by their masters, by their daddies. Okay, so I just put that there to say, I'm not going to go into, I'm going to explain some of this a little later on, right? But when you understand how pressure works, then you understand your reality. You understand how it works. Because if you're going to play chess, you need to know the rules of the game. See, you can't go in with checkers. So therefore, all these religions trying to explain how reality works. And that's all, they're all philosophies, every one of them. Christianity too, they're still trying to explain, and they have a scripture, they have a valid scripture, but they don't understand it. They're trying to explain the world, how we came here, how we came to existence, how we became, God, and how all this stuff works, right? And so they try to explain it based on their understanding, and that's what a religion is. Just philosophy, trying to explain how we became, right? How the world works, what's going to happen. That's all religions are. They're all philosophies, because none of them can be proven. Not one of them can be proven, not one. And not one of them can bring anything into reality from that dimension. See, in other words, you can't bring a Christian car into existence. You can't bring a Buddhist fuel into existence, because they're not real realities. The only one you can do that is mathematics. Mathematics, you can bring some existence that didn't exist before, because that's the only true reality there is. Tell them, say, okay, if Buddhism is true reality, then bring me something that operates off Buddhist principles. Bring me something operating off Christian principles. Bring me something off of Hindu principles. You can't, because those things don't exist. You say, I do it through prayer. Well, okay, right? And God gave me I prayed for a car, He gave me a car. But yeah, you still had to go to the dealer and get credit check on it. Come on, brothers and sisters. Stop the bullshit, please. Well, see, there's no bullshit zone here. Anyway, I got to move on, because I said we got a lot to cover. Oh, what is this? What is this? See? What is this? Ooh. Back here. What is this? Gotta be careful with this, because see, they had me on Gitmo trying to explain something. Explain what's going on with this. See? Okay. That's just a basic representation of the will Elijah Muhammad talked about. See? If they're trying to figure out how it works. They said like 1,000,000 years ahead. How do you know how far in the future they know? I mean, they're saying stuff like that, they don't know. See? But they'll never be able to make it. If they made it, they wouldn't be able to use it. See, that's why the Quran says that the heavens have strong locks, or strong guards, because we wouldn't be able to use it, because to use it, you need something else that's equally more complicated than this, actually. See? So see, this operates off a proton engine. Now, magnetism is based off protons. See, most of you don't probably understand this stuff because you're too busy with MFL and NFL. You know, if you took the time that you was watching NFL, NBA, you could be a scientist. You can have a PhD, because you can go and learn. You can read all the stuff you can read. You can educate. You can learn several languages. In fact, right now with the internet, you can go out there and learn about anything you want to learn. Don't cost you a dime. You can learn trigonometry. You can learn physics. You can learn vectors. You can learn calculus. It don't cost you a dime. And for you people, you have to have children, they got a thing called a Khan Academy that will teach you everything from from the second grade all the way up to college, and it doesn't cost you a dime. And it's visual. And the guy is pretty good. I mean, I think he could be, I can teach better than he because he still complicates stuff, because they still see things in a complicated way. But still there. But you rather learn statistics on NBA, which does nothing for you. And then you wonder why you're being ruled by people that's not watching NBA, but watching trigonometric functions, right? Derivatives, vector analysis, differential equations, because that's whooping your ass with and throwing your ass in jail with. While you talking about, hey man, my Magic Man, I mean, he did, man, he shot it from the end zone and all this. Come on, brother and sister, get real. You say you want your own country, how you gonna run it? Off of NBA statistics? You got the best brains on the planet, and they trying to make sure you don't ever figure that out. That whole story about Joseph, they couldn't figure anything. They had to get Joseph. That's the story of us. That's 64 years I was telling you about. See, because they couldn't run this. The whole economy, everything was falling apart, and Joseph only couldn't tell them how to do it. How was rewarded? He enslaved his descendants. See, that's another story about us. I'm not going to it. Anyway, now give me an example. Some people think, oh, it wipes off electromagnetism. No, it doesn't. See, but it's still a proton engine. See, protons are the fundamental active object, most fundamental in the universe. So you got neutrons, because the proton is just a spinning neutron. That's all it is. See. So, and that's magnetism is based on that. But that is a combination between the proton and the electron. And that combination, I'm not going to talk about that here because I have put a presentation explaining gravity and all those type of things. And I haven't had anybody come and tell me it's wrong yet, because it's absolutely right. But they're not going to make it public because that nigga ain't supposed to know that kind of stuff. I mean, he knows more than, because their idea of gravity is still a theory. They don't understand it. They still understand it's still a theory. You'd be surprised. Evolution is still a theory. They tell you this stuff, but those are theories. That means they know they think it's like that, but they're not sure. But they're telling you things like facts, like these preachers tell you, oh man, this is a fact about Jesus. Those are theories too. All religions are theories. But they come and tell you it's a fact. Oh, you know, like this guy talking about, when you die, do you know you're going to heaven or not? How in the hell you know? You see? So, brothers and sisters, you better start thinking. You got a brain to think with. Start checking all the stuff, the information we're giving you, because the decision you're making is based on information you've been given, and it's been all bad. You haven't got good information since you've been here. The only good information you got was Master Muhammad showed up and told you the truth, actual facts. Elijah Muhammad spent 42 years representing that truth, expressing that truth, and Farrakhan came and shut it back down. Anyway. So it looks something like this. So you actually have two engines, one on top, one on the bottom. See what in the center there? I just put a proton there, but that would people be walking there. And so you have a thing called inertial dampeners, because when you go in the car and you're in the car and you step on the gas, you see somebody pushed against the seat. See? Well, if you move at high speeds like this thing's capable of doing, it will crush you because it goes so fast. It will crush you. Because you can move at 24 billion miles per second. You can go fast you want to go with this. There's a limit, but it's not because of physics. It's because of something else I'm going to tell you about in a minute. So you have to have two on side. So the differential will be 32 feet per second, so you still feel like you walk on the earth. Even those things, that's why these things take off like that. So how can these things take off like that without killing the people in it? I mean, they see things stand still, also took out 100 miles an hour, 2,000 miles an hour. That would be crushing forces. You know, sometimes you see those guys going in space, and when it goes off, you see how the skins being pushed back and everything pushed back. Because that's they're called G's. That's gravitational force pushing on so great. That's about, you know, and they have to go so fast, and they're going slow. They're going slow, and that's happening. What if you was going 1,000 miles per second or 10,000 miles a second? You'd be crushed in an instant. So you have to have two engines, right, and have the differential be just enough where so in other words you won't feel, right, you won't experience that because the difference between both of them going like a super speed, but the difference between is just enough to make it 32 feet per second, so you don't feel any gravitational forces. That solves the inertia problem, right? See, they call them inertial dampeners. Like, they say, you Star Trek movies and everything, they have to have inertial dampeners when they take off the light speed, warp speed, because everybody be crushed. So that solves the inertial dampener problem. But it's based on, so we look at it another way. Now, a magnet doesn't need any fuel. But look all the power it has. This doesn't need any fuel. See, that's another problem. Even if they'll never get out in space with their technology because they couldn't get enough fuel. I mean, they'd have to carry a spaceship 10,000 times bigger than the spaceship they're in just to carry the fuel to get them out to the nearest star. And then the problem is that it costs a lot of fuel just to carry all that fuel. So they would never achieve it. See? You talking about going to the moon, you think that's a big deal? We made the moon. We made the stars. We've been out there. And if they get telescopes big enough, right, powerful enough, they might see us out there. Because when you're looking out in space, you're looking billions of years in the past. Those stars ain't there. What you saw, when you look out there, those stars, the further out, those stars are not there. That was like a billion years ago they was there. You see? So we was flying around out there during that time. See? At speeds that they can't even imagine. They say, well, speed of light is, see, that's their theory, that you can't go faster than the speed of light. If that was true, then the Quran is a lie, because the Quran says that our garden be as wide as the heavens and the earth. That means we'd be able to go anywhere in the heavens. If it wouldn't be a garden if we couldn't get out there in a meaningful period of time. It will take you 100 years to get out there, right? What good? Who cares about that? Who want to do that? Who want to make that type of journey? Because it's all out there. We made everything out there, and there are trillions of planets habitable. Which thing we was doing for the last 72 trillion years, scratching our ass? We set it all up. See? Anyway, that's another story. So you take a magnet. A magnet doesn't require fuel. But a magnet, small magnet, say take a magnet the size of a refrigerator, right? Right? A small refrigerator. It's more powerful than the Earth. You say, how is it more powerful than the Earth? Okay. If you take a magnet the size of a refrigerator and you take another a piece of metal, piece of steel, iron, as big as that magnet, right? And you take like a crane and hold that magnet over top of the refrigerator, it's going to pull that refrigerator up. That means, and gravity's trying to pull it down, but it defeated gravity, and look how small it is. It defeated gravity, the whole Earth's gravity, 6 trillion tons, and this is just way half a ton, and it's just that small. Earth is trillions of times bigger than that magnet, but yet still that little magnet was able to defeat the gravity of Earth. The only problem is that it has two poles. So since it has two poles, right, then one kind of bounces the other one, so that's why the gravity can hold it down itself to the ground. But it can pull all things away from the Earth if you hold it up. But it itself can't escape the Earth because it has two poles. It has a pole that's pushing and a pole that's pulling. See? So it bounces out so the Earth can hold it down. But if you took and remove one of those poles, that thing would move. A magnet would move out, would accelerate out here like billions of miles a second. If you move those, that's because it's trillions of times more powerful than the air gravity. It's trillions of times a magnet is trillions of times more powerful than gravity. Trillions of times the more powerful. Let me change it. Trillions of times more powerful than the gravity of Earth. Trillions. Check it out. I'm gonna take my word for it. You mathematicians, check it out. Check the ratio between magnetism and Earth gravity, and magnetism is trillion times larger, trillion times greater. So if you somehow can take it into see it's a bipolar, right? It's a bipolar now, but if you somehow make it a monopole, that means you only have one pole, then that thing would have, and it requires no fuel. It requires no fuel whatsoever. And those are similar properties that a proton engine. It operates on similar principles, but not quite. But similar principles, and it doesn't require any energy. I mean, it doesn't require any fuel. But it's like a magnet. See? And it's the basis of the engine we use, because like magnetism is the basis of engine, basis of proton is the basis of magnetism. And the proton engine is based on proton, some aspect of the proton, but they don't know about. And that same thing is the thing that we can take and use that, right, to make super how should I say it? See, because this thing can repel, but we can reverse it and make it attract. See, so it's something like a monopole. Remember I said monopole, they just had one pole? But it's not that. But the reason why I'm saying it has the properties, because you can turn it off one way or the other, because that's what we did with the galaxy. That's why you see all the see, scientists, they look out there and they say, they don't understand why they have galaxies. They don't understand why they have constellations. Because they say, based on that Big Bang Theory, because they say that's how everything started out with a atom and everything just blew up and now we have all this universe. They say they don't understand why there should be even stars, why there should be even galaxies, because everything should just be like a mist. I mean, just like a cloud. So they don't see why things would form like that. That's what they say. These are scientists. They're scientists. I call them blientists. See, because we gave it form. Everything in the universe that gave form, we gave it form. See, we are creators. See, we turn energy from one form to another. Formless energy to form energy. So the thing is, so we took, and we have this thing, they call them black holes. Like, what they do is they call all the stars that clump together into a galaxy or a constellation. And the reason why we do that, right, so we can move throughout there, because we can't have it just all over the place, because we have to navigate through it to get to where we want to get to. See, so we have to have space lanes. That's why we did it like that. So that gets to the other thing I was telling you about. See, even if they had this media, if they was getting out of Gitmo and figure out and brain and waterboard and everything else, and assuming I actually know how it works. See, I mean, technically, and I could tell them, assuming that, right? They still wouldn't do them any good. Because even if they was able to achieve the speed of light, they still cannot navigate out there. They still, because first of all, they have to know the navigation lanes. And remember, they're not where they are right now. They change all the time, because you're looking at this billions of years in the future, in the past. So when you look at stars, some of the stars don't even exist anymore. So as you look out there, you're looking in the past, and that constellation, it doesn't exist anymore. Some of that form doesn't exist anymore. That's where it was billions of years ago. The further you go back, further you look out, the further back in time you're looking. So it means you have to know where they are right now. And you have to know where everything is, because if you're navigating the speed of light, and you hit a nickel, and say your vehicle is big as a school bus, you hit a nickel, it's going to destroy that school, because the kinetic energy is so great that it would destroy the school bus. If you hit just a nickel, you can't hit anything out there. You got to be empty space, can't hit anything. See? If you travel that speed, and we talking about traveling speeds of 24 billion miles a second, speed of thought. See, you can go fast as you want to, but there's a limit. I'm gonna tell you why. So you gotta know where everything is. You gotta have like a GPS to know they can plot your journey and know exactly where everything is. Every atom in the user has to know where it is to get out there. And it's the same technology you need to use to determine prophecy. Because in other words, to see ahead, you got to know every atom in place. You got to take everything in consideration. You got to take the sperm, the procreation process of every individual. You got to know what sperm is going to fertilize the egg. Remember, that's billions of components right there. You got to know everything, the whole universe. You have to know every atom is. You have to be able to calculate precisely. You need the same technology for both. See, so because you have to know where every atom is out there, so you make sure you apply the course. Let's not hit anything. It's the same technology that to navigate out there, the right product. They can't do either one. That's why. And the limit is that we have 4 seasons. Each 6,000 years. It takes approximately 24 to 25,000 years, and that's why it takes approximately 4 seasons. Each about approximately 6,000 years long, right? A winter season, a spring season, a summer season, and a fall season. We just came through a 6,000 year winter season. The worst in history, because the universe was totally expanded. It's the worst one in history. We suffered energy deprivation, and we just come out, now we're in a spring thaw. So it's the winter people that survived that ruled it during that period of time, now they're dying out. We'll talk about that some other time. So we have computers that are so powerful. Elijah Muhammad never talked about computers because he wouldn't know about computers when Master Muhammad was here. His idea of prophecy is watching some bug go up and down the wall and calculate. Because he didn't know anything about computers. They didn't have computers back then. He talked about dynamite making the moon because they didn't know about atomic power that math problem. How many knew about atomic power? But apparently he didn't tell Elijah. He gave in the lessons, when you break that lesson about the cracked atom, when you break it down, you know he's talking about nuclear power, nuclear bombs. It's right there in the lesson. I can break it down to you very easily for you to understand it. All you got to do for you scientists out there is when you say how much does a cracked atom weigh, change the question to how much force does a cracked atom have, then you got the problem. Then you got the answer. See, because weight and force, the same thing. Weight is just in terms of gravity. Anyway, so we have computers so powerful that we can calculate the motion of all the atoms in the universe, calculated up to 25,000 years in the future. See, because it takes a lot of computer power to do that. So that's why there's a limit. See, and you have to keep that information to go forward to the next 25, because you can't go back to the beginning again, because then you have to go back to the beginning of time. You never calculate it back up or up to this point again. And those computers are off-world, because we can't let them touch it, we can't let them know about it, and we can't let them be damaged. Like I said, because you'd have to start back from the beginning, right? To come back up to where you are, and then move forward. And now you would never be able to do it. So it takes so we do it 25,000 years into the future. And then, right, then we write down, and that's a little more complicated what I'm saying, but write down, then we pass that information on, so we have foresight. And the same technology you need to navigate throughout the universe. See, that's yours, brothers and sisters. That's your inheritance. Those wheels you see, that you somebody call UFOs, now the government has knowledge that they're true. They said, well, they must be coming from another planet. No, they came from Master Muhammad, and that would be a technology you have. You don't have no cars, you don't have no planes, you don't have none of that BS, right? You won't need roads, right? Where your children get run over. You don't need it anymore. You have this is technology that you have going into the future, and you'll be able to live. And many of you are going to live off planet. See, because all those planets already have, well, they're beautiful. And some of you are going to be gods, those planets. Some of you are going to learn, many of you are going to live off planet. See? Because Earth is the center, it's the heaven. Earth is the center of all of it. But many are going to live off planet. You'll see, once you get home, if you get home, because they're doing everything they can to make sure you never get this. But like I said, even if they got this, they couldn't do anything with it, because they would need that computer. So if they got this technology to do this, they still couldn't get out there. They'd be running the stars and everything else. They'd be, it's like you teach a man a car, you tell him how to build a car, right? But we live in a big jungle. What good is that car? Because every time you 5 steps, you run into a tree. Don't do any good, because you need the roads and all the stuff for that car to to make sense. See, so even if they got it, they couldn't do anything with it. That's why the Quran says strong gods. So I thought that, I said, we're going to cover a lot of stuff, brothers and sisters. See, because I want you to understand what you have and what's at stake here, and and you holding on to this reality. This false reality, right? This book called American Dream. If it's a dream, that means it's not real. The American dream is not real. If it's a dream, it's not real. They tell you it's not real. I don't want the American dream. See? I want the Abrahamic reality. I want a dream. But you don't pay attention to this stuff. They be like that, that's why they have so many heart attacks. The whites have so many, the cocaine has so many heart attacks in this country. Laughing at us. They know they pulled a good one on us. Okay, let's move on, brothers and sisters. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the angel key here. Now, this is what it looks like. See? Now, we're going to go more in detail about that as I move along, right? But I'm just showing you this way, because in order to understand the angel or the revelations, you need a key. It says a seal. You need a key, and this is the key, is what the key looks like. I'm going to explain this key a little more in detail as we go on. But I'm just showing you this right now because I want to show you something else. See, something that's going on right now that some of you probably observe, and they're really pushing, and I want you to understand it. Now, it's going to be general, right? But it's enough for you to get some ideas, to get an idea, a little grasp on why some things happen like they're happening. Like I said, it's going to be an overview. It's not going to be going into a lot of detail, because if I did that, we would be here all day, all night, because like I said, I'm going to take and just cover a lot of subjects, but, just enough for you to get a handle on some of it. I talked about this yesterday. So I'm going to talk about it a little more today, right? But before I go, let me. I failed to really explain something a few minutes ago. I says, all these people want to be the Son of Man, but do they really? They don't. They say they want to be Elijah. They don't want to be Elijah. Cause see, they want the good side of it. See, they want the adulations, the worship, the money, the prestige. You see, that's what they want. But they want to. Elijah Muhammad going to prison. They want that being on the run. You know, all other stuff that he had to put up with. And said, Son of Man had to put the same thing. And we know Master Prophet Muhammad had to put all that stuff. So how in the world are they going to say Master Prophet Muhammad, Son of Man, when you read what Son of Man is all about? None of those things fit Master Prophet Muhammad. Master Prophet Muhammad was never homeless. Master Prophet Muhammad is a wealthy man. He's very wealthy. His father was very wealthy. Master, I remember told you his father spent a lot of money just to get the knowledge to teach Master Prophet Muhammad. And Master Prophet Muhammad was not self-taught. Son of Man will be self-taught. Master Prophet Muhammad was not self. He said his father taught him. And he got knowledge from other scientists. And Elijah Muhammad was not self-taught. And Farrakhan wasn't taught at all, because he's too dumb to learn anything. He wasn't supposed to be a brain. He was just supposed to be a spokesman. He was like a magnaphone, but he couldn't even do that right. So I said they want to be, they want to be, see, I've been doing this for 30 some years, actually 50 some years. Because I made Elijah Muhammad in 1970. They didn't fish me in. I actually fished them in. I went looking for them. I had never read a Muhammad Speak newspaper. I didn't know anything about Nation of Islam. Even though I said we used to live right around the corner from Temple 25, but I didn't know what it was about. My father took me to one time, but I had no idea. I was about 12 years old. Right? We used to live right around the corner from, I thought it was a church or something. I didn't know what it was. I didn't find out until I left Vietnam looking for Elijah. And then I found out about Nation of Islam, found out about Malcolm X, all this stuff. I went looking for Elijah based on what I read in the Bible, because I was a Bible reader. See? And so from 1970, I've been on post since 1970. That's over 50 years. So 20 of it, from 1970 to 1990, that's 20 years, right? So 20 years I was under the tutelage of Elijah Muhammad, so to speak, because I was using the knowledge I got from him and Master Prophet Muhammad. See? And then I broke the seals in 1990, right? Now, a lot of stuff I learned between 1970 and had nothing to do with Elijah Muhammad, because I learned physics, right? The stuff I'm teaching about physics and all that kind of stuff. I didn't get that from Elijah Muhammad. About how to pressure reality, I didn't get that from him. I taught myself that stuff. A lot. I taught myself calculus. I taught myself a lot of mathematical stuff. I didn't get that from Elijah Muhammad, right? See, I got the basic history from Elijah Muhammad, right? And because that's primarily what Master Prophet Muhammad gave him, right? But all this science and everything that I'm telling you about, I taught myself that. And then after 1990, when I broke the seals, then I was on my own. I was totally, in a whole new world of knowledge, whole new world, a whole mission. Because I was from 1970 to 1990, I was pushing Elijah Muhammad's mission. See, that was the post I was on. But now I'm pushing the mission, Angel mission, Book of Revelations. See, so that's over 50 some years. So, and I don't have a whole bunch of followers. I got 144,000 waiting in the wings, but that's a whole nother story I'm not going to talk to you about. But the thing is that pretty much I've been walking this thing alone for almost 50 some years. So you want to be, can you handle that? Nobody's giving me any money. I've never asked anybody for a dime. Never asked anybody for a dime, ever. And I'm constantly, 24/7, putting this information out. Information that you're going to see some today. So do you want that? Nobody works with me, and the people that are work with me, I tell them right up front, you see me any wings on my back? You see a third eye up here anywhere? You see me doing, what they call that stuff, what they call that when you floating on air, right? You see me doing that kind of stuff? So don't be worshiping me. Yeah, okay. He called because I mastered something. I mastered the angel. See? It's like Master Prophet Muhammad mastered the science, right? That he's showing the world every day. See? When you master something, you should get the, they call you have a master's degree, That means you're somebody's master? No, because you have a degree. You're not supposed to theoretically master something. See? So I ain't looking to be worshipped by anybody. And I don't tell anybody what to do. The people who work with me tell you that I don't tell them what to do. In fact, I refuse because something I'm not going to tell you. Because you're God and you got to figure out yourself. You think we get to hereafter, and spend all my time spending trying to tell people what to do. I want to enjoy my life too. You think that's why Muhammad's going to spend his whole time worrying about you? He wants to enjoy his life too. He already spent over 100 years just preparing to get your ass home. See, he got a life he wants to live. I got a life I want to live. And don't involve sitting around watching everything you do and trying to figure out what and trying to tell you what to do and what not to do. That's why we raising gods. Anyway, so you want to be, if you can handle that, then go out and do it. Because all you want to do is make merchandise for our people. It's going to be worshipped with money. I don't want anybody's money. And nobody can give me any money anyway. Because they don't know how to give it to me. I won't even tell them how to give it to me. I don't even tell them where I'm at. See? If anything, I give them something, but I'm asking to give me anything. See? Because if you're a God, why do you need somebody to give you something? Why Pharaoh can he claim himself as a God, but yet he's begging for money all the time? That should tell you something right there. But he's telling you to pray for your salvation, pray for your deliverance, pray for your money. Well, why don't he pray for the money he asked you for? It's all bullshit. Stop the bullshit. Anyway, that's what the key looks like in general. Okay? So we'll see how this works. So I'll move on. I want to talk about this right here. See? Okay. I'm just giving an analogy here. This is about something that's going on right now because the reason I'm doing this, because I was at the gym the other day and I had noticed that almost all the black guys come there got white girls. And I blew it off, But then let me check that. So I started counting, and I found out almost every black person in there that came in with, it was like over 10 of them, or more, maybe more 20. Every one of them had a white girl, white wife, or if this is a white wife with a white girlfriend. All these black guys. I'm saying, and Elijah Muhammad said their women would be his last weapon, right? See? And I've been talking about the demons, but that's another story. So I'm saying, okay. So I said, let me do the math on this thing. See? Because when I try to understand something, right, the first thing I do is try to find the math in it and the pressure, how pressure works, the math in it. Because the Quran and the Bible, they're all mathematical books. You just don't understand that away. What's the fundamental principle? You eat what you sow. That's the most fundamental principle of the universe. Every action has an opposite equal reaction. That's consequence. They say that. Even in India, they call it karma. That's the same thing. Consequence. That's the most fundamental principle of the universe, consequence. And now these devils are starting to feel the consequence of what they've been doing for 500 years. It says they had no fear of God before their eyes. You don't understand that statement. That means they had no fear of consequence. That makes them powerful, but it makes them stupid too. Because they're powerful because they just move on ahead and do what they want to do because they don't see the consequence coming up in their way, riding up on their ass. And so they're doing great because they don't respect consequence. But that's because, just because you don't believe in gravity, that don't mean it will bust your ass if you jump out that building. See? So like you jump out the Empire State Building, right? Or Sears Tower, and you fly. Man, I'm flying. See? Because you ain't thinking the consequence of what's going to happen to you. But see, I'm flying. Look how I'm flying. And that's good. You are flying until you hit that damn ground. And that's where Europeans have been flying for 500 years, right? Because they don't understand that they're going to hit the damn, they're flying, but the consequence is going to tear their ass up. And that's what's happening right now. Because now consequence corrupt their ass. Because if you drop an egg off a Sears Tower or Elijah or Empire State Building, when release it from your hand, you drop the egg. Once you release it, is it broke? That's the question. Is it broke? Once you release it from your hand, when you top the Empire State Building, is it broke? See? Some people say, yeah, it's broke. Hell, you might as well say it's broke. Unless something interfere. See? Because it's in free fall. But it's flying up until it hits. And so the Europeans have been flying until they hit. And now they're hitting. See? They're about to be destroyed. They hit the ground. They're going to be destroyed. Totally. That's what's happening right now. See? Because they didn't have no fear of consequence. They jumped. They was told not to do this. They was told not to do this stuff they was doing. They had limits. They was told this rule, but they weren't told to be genocide. They was allowed to make mischief and shed blood to a certain extent, but they weren't prisoners. God's apple of God's eye. They were supposed to be served them, not be afflicted by them, not to be sodomized, not to be raped, not to be castrated, right? All the stuff they did to us, they went beyond the limits. That's why the Quran keeps talking about the limits of Allah, right? So they went beyond. So they was flying, just like, you jump over there by the stage, you flying. You see those movies, they jump out of parachute, right? And they're flying, and then the parachute open. Only problem is, there's no parachute for these guys. When they go pull the string for the parachute, ain't no something coming up. Ain't nothing coming up. See? That parachute's going to fail. And that's a good analogy. That's what's happening to them. Anyway, we're going to go to this, and I'm trying to explain something. Like I said, I was talking about. So what I'm going to say is, like in pressure, I said this whole thing's a pressure reality, right? Our whole reality is pressure. So in the pressure field, everything has the same amount of force. It's based on the equation, mass times acceleration equals force. And the force is the same everywhere in the pressure field. Everywhere in the pressure field, when it's not, it's a current, and the current is just to make an adjustment. That's what a current is. When you see a current, a breeze, it's making an adjustment because it's got pressures. On one side is greater than pressure on the other side, so that the pressure is greater, it's going to move towards the lower pressure until it's normalized. Like say, waves in the water. If you have the waves are currents because there's more pressure on one side, the other side, so you have a wave that just goes. After a while, you see the water's all still and not moving because that means the pressure is equal everywhere. If it's moving, that means there's an adjustment has to be made, right? And then everything, because that's the way pressure works. So everywhere in it, say the pressure, the force is 12. Then every molecule in there has a force of 12. So that means it's based on acceleration times mass. Mass also structure complexity. So the more complex it is, right? So if the complexity is 12, its acceleration only going to be 1. But if its complexity is 1, its acceleration is going to be 12. So it's going to move 12 times faster than the other one. It's going to move much faster, but it's less complex. See? So if you got a Lamborghini that hits a Volkswagen Beetle, you know how it's going to. I think Lamborghini is made out of pure iron or pure steel. Lamborghini is probably plastic. You know how that's going to turn out. See? So when you have it, so now you got these nations, and every nation is different. Some nations are harder than other nations. So I'm giving an analogy here. This is not the correct way, but this is just an analogy. So I'm saying we're the most complex. We're steel. I'm saying black Africans, they're iron. I'm saying Asian people, they're brass. I'm saying the Oriental people are tin. I'm saying the Europeans, they're porcelain. They're porcelain. See? So if steel and porcelain collide, like on a pool table, right? That porcelain is going to crack. They still may get a dent, but it's going to go along fine. But the porcelain is going to crack and maybe break. Depends on how intense the collision is. That's what pressure is measured on how intense the collisions are. See, some collisions are acceptable. Like when you have intimate with some with your special other, that's an interaction, but it's acceptable. It's a mild one, right? Well, in some cases, right? Well, I'd say, But the thing is that and so when you get in a fight with somebody, that's war is a really tense interaction. Because that means you move real fast and you're colliding. So the greater the pressure, everything will move fast while pressure cookers work because you turn the engine up and they move faster and faster and faster, right? That's what flames are because atoms move real fast. Okay. So now, where do we get the energy from? Energy doesn't come, it says it comes from everywhere from the mouth of God. What they mean by that is that the universe expands and contracts. So in the beginning, we're going to use that terminology from the beginning. All the universe was, the Quran says, the earth and heaven was one. So all of it was right here. So we was intense beings. We had so much energy. And now the universe started expanding, and all the energy used to be here is out there. See, all the energy out there used to be here. So now we went in a period of energy deprivation when the universe got full expansion. And that was a 50,000 year process, went through energy deprivation. From the time the universe come to full expansion to start contracting again. So the first energy wave we got from its contraction was like 1860s, where we broke out from the physical chains, right? Then next one, 50 years later, right? We broke our mental chains. That's in the 19 when Noble Ali, Marcus Garvey started thinking Afrocentric. 50 years later, right? Social changes, right? You had a so-called civil rights movement, and now we're 50 years late now, and we're about to break all. That's another story. That's about to happen. But we got all these different nations. I'm saying, so those are different properties, right? So right now we're mixed. Right now we got the steel mixed in with the porcelain. See. And so, like I said, the energy waves came back. The first positive one came back in the 1860s. So every 50 years we get more energized. So now, and it says it's momentous in the heavens and earth, but it comes above the settings. That means it comes, earth has to absorb it and transform it into a form that we can use. And that's happening right now. So you're going to start feeling it soon. You're going to start experiencing it soon. And that's going to cause a big, it's going to cause a major change in the planet. Because all this energy, because remember, so-called civil rights caused the metal, it didn't just affect here, it affected the whole planet, right? So it's going to have a major, and let me connect something else. For you, brothers and sisters, that you probably, some of you can grab hold to. You know, the first energy wave, like I said, 1860s, but see, music is and our music dominates the planet. Music is expression of your emotions, basically. That's when blues came along. Why? Because we had the blues. Because we were thrown in the ditch. We wasn't given anything. We wasn't given any food, clothing. We had no money. We had no house. We had nothing. We were just thrown out in the ditch with absolutely nothing. We had the blues. They didn't free us. They claimed they freed us. No, they didn't need us. Because we went from the agricultural age to the industrial age where they started making machines to do these things. Anyway, that's another story. And then 50 years later, right, the jazz. We started feeling jazzy. Got Noble, Drew Ali, Marcus Garvey, Elijah, started telling us to think Afrocentric. This ain't no coincidence. Just check it out. 50 years later, Motown sound. Right? Because now we start, I'm black and I'm proud, that kind of stuff, right? Is that a coincidence? And now a new sound's about to come out. Told you in advance. See, because now, once this energy comes, it's going to inspire us. And then you're going to have some brothers and sisters going to come out with this new man, just like, I mean, I was there. Motown came out like out of nowhere. It just changed, because before they was doing Nat King Cole, that kind of stuff. Anyway, let's throw that out at you. So what's happening is that we got this situation here, and so the energy increasing, right? So and when you get more energy, like turn up the fire, that means you get more pressure, get more interreactions. And so you see the Europeans, right, for the last 50 years, right, they've been like going crazy. Look, all this stuff that's coming out, man, they move around fast, they're going to the moon, they got fast cars, they got stars they didn't have 50 years ago. They got communication is fast, everything is fast with them. They faster than anybody else. Who's after them? The Chinese, is that a coincidence? Who after them? The Asians, is that a coincidence? Who after them? Africans, they slower, and we the slowest of all. We ain't have nothing. The fastest moving around is them because they got least structure, right? So they move faster. They think faster analytically. We think fast spatially, but we think deeper. Spatial things is deep thinking. It takes in consequence. Remember I talked about that? It's comprehensive. It looks at all aspects of something. It's not going to take and jump off the Empire State Building and say, man, I'm flying. It's going to realize, hey, man, if I do that, I'll be flying for a little while, but then I'm going to be crushed in the ground. So it looks at the whole situation where the analytical mind says, hey, man, I want to fly. So I jump off there, I'm flying, but he don't realize, right, he ain't looking at the whole thing, the consequence of him jumping off there and he's flying, they ain't going to be flying for long. See, that's the difference. Hope you understand. I can go in more detail, but I want to move on to other things. So I'm saying is, and I put porcelain there because I'm saying, I'm making a special situation. It applies to everybody else. But you got the male and the female. See, the female is more flexible than the male. So in other words, you say porcelain is very rigid. See, but the female, she's like made of same material, but she's more like plastic, right? So in other words, she'll adjust where the porcelain will crack. So if you hit it with a steel ball, it just dent, right? In other words, if you hit plastic, if some plastic hit and the dent might come back out, but it won't crack. It absorbed the blow rather than be broken by the blow. So that's why I said, that's why I put plastic there. Because I want to make a distinction between the male and the female. In this case. Okay, so I'm saying we're all together here. That's why I showed that first picture molecules. See, we all together here in America. See, but we the steel and they're the porcelain. See, but we have porcelain amongst us. Those are demons. That's their children. That's the chaff. Because it says half the black. They're called demons, and we'll talk about that later. They're called demons. So in other words, half devil, half man. So we say half our nation is demons. Half the blacks in America are demons. They master children, house Negroes, if you will, right? And the rest of them are Negro butts. They change the Negro butts because we got to solve that problem. But we're going to short circuit that programming, right, and stop that Negro butt stuff. So we got the two, right? So it's colliding. So you see, the Europeans, the pressure is too much for them because remember they was created under low pressure, so they wasn't created to deal with pressure. We came to our existence started out under it took the entire pressure universe, right? We was able to, I don't want to say self-create ourselves because it's not quite accurate, but we started out under the power of the fully compressed universe took us to develop us, to put it that away. That's not quite accurate, but I'm going to leave it there, right? So we would stand the full, because remember we was here when the universe fully contracted, means we could stand the full pressure of a contracted universe. So nothing can destroy us. Because no pressure can come great enough to destroy us. Because we come into existence under we developed ourselves under the full pressure of a contracted universe. But they came opposite. They came into existence under a totally expanded universe, which is tension opposite of pressure. As the universe expanded, it went to a state of tension because tension pulls things apart, pressure pushes things together. So when the pressure started coming, it would destroy them because they can't handle it. So now we're under pressure. We're under pressure now, and so there's dope. They suicide, right? PTSD, addiction, right? Dope addiction, sexual confusion. See, and so they're falling apart. See, and females too. But the thing is, they react in a different way because, like I said, the males, they crack under pressure because we all colliding with each other. There's all pressure here because they're interacting with everybody. And that's what's killing the interaction. The reaction's too great, so they have to take drugs, something like that, to keep it, to be functional, right? Okay. So what's happening is that, say for instance, we get a steel collide with the porcelain. It cracks. Can't handle like those kind of interactions, right? But the plastic, the female, right? Well, instead of cracking, she'll deform. See? So in other words, like if you take and punch your hand into a malleable plastic, right? Then you see the imprint of your fist. See, it didn't crack because it absorbed it. You see the imprint of your fist. So it adjusted to your fist. And that's what's happening. See, because first of all, these white girls, right? They can't find any white men that taking care of business anymore because they're all under pressure, drugs out or whatever else. And then they run into, when they collide with a black person, black man, right? They conform to fit like that plastic. It came to form to fit the fist, so it adjusts to that person. So that person, yeah, because this is a perfect fit. See, so they become what the black person wants them to be. See, and that's what's going on. Because I said, all these black, because they're seeking out these black guys. See, and when they interact with them, they become, and so, and these black guys, they like it. Because, hey, man, they're going along with them. Because the black women ain't going to do that. Because they steal. And they can't deal with the black women. The black women is what got us through. He do all this shit for the last 40 years. They was the warriors, because it was up to Massa, all of us would be demons. Because they wouldn't even allow a black man, original man, to have a relationship with a black woman unless they gave permission. And I'm not going to go into the details about that because I don't even want to get into it. It makes me sick to think about it. See? But you saw the movie Django. What happened there? Right? What happened there? Right? He had to kill another black person just to get a beer and have intimacy with a black woman for one night. You don't understand half of it, brothers and sisters. See? Because I'm going to say this story, like I said, I don't like to repeat it often, but I can't remember the name they use. They use it as an English name, but they use practice. The whole story, Braveheart was based on that, because the noble wants he's already right have sex with any couple want to get married. He had the right to have sex for the first night, break her in. See, that was his right. And he said, "I'm not going to let that happen." See, that was whole story is about. That same thing was doing, because you could not sleep with a black woman unless they gave permission. Usually it was, they did have stuff arms, right? Usually that was based on incentive. So it was, you had to pick extra barrel, hair, whatever. And boy, whoever could pick the most, they could sleep with Sal on the weekend. That's kind of stuff that was going on, right? See. But then, what happened is that there was a girl, she's 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, whatever, right? And Master go tell mom, say, hey, it's time for Shirley. It's time for what? What you mean, Shirley? It's time. So she got to bring Shirley to him. He's laying back there all neck and everything else, right? And because what it means is he's got to break her in. That's the whole idea. Because you couldn't do it. Only Master reserved the right to have sex with him anytime he wanted to, and the first time break him in as virgins. That's what they was doing. So he laying all neck and everything. So now mom has to demonstrate to her daughter all the things that Master, all the devious things that he want done to him. So she got to do it in front of the daughter to show her daughter how to please Master with his sick self, however long that took. Then once she gave a demonstration, show everything, then the daughter has to go in and see if she got it right. Then the mother has to sit there and show her, no, honey, you got to do it this way, you got to do it with the corrector. This was sick stuff. This is what was going on. You see? So as a consequence of all that, right, they say the angel tells half the black people in America are demons. And they love Master. You hear him talking about our founding fathers and all that stuff. What is their founding fathers? See? It's Jefferson and White, they are their founding fathers. So they can say that stuff, but it makes me sick to hear it. And they make us look bad with all the stuff they be doing, because that's them. They look like us, talking, but they ain't us. They're the ones doing all this dirt and killing and all this kind of stuff, raping. They're the ones doing that stuff, not us. See? So I was just trying to get you to see what's going on. But the only weak-minded of us that can't escape the gravitational vortex, this reality, this false reality, they're the only ones going to do that. See? Because I've had experience like that. I used to, when I was working in New York, and I had this woman. I'm not going to, I don't want to go. I could say her name, except I don't want to do all that. But I worked with her up in New York, right? And it was for an insurance company. I was a consultant, right? And she brought me on to do this job. She interviewed me and she brought me on to do the job, right? And we got along pretty well. And she's part of the reason why I'm in Florida, right? Because when all hell broke loose, I was married to a demon at the time, right? Because she kept asking me, this woman, she kept, why don't you come down to Florida? Because she told me one time, she was in love with me, she wanted to be, I ain't leave my family for you. And I wasn't doing none of that stuff. And I didn't have no relationship with her or nothing, I'll make that very clear, right? But she kept on coming like that, right? And so, so I'm this demon who her cousin Cole told me, she was a lawyer, said, man, get out, just leave out of town. Because she had left, took her the kids, run up the kids, showed me. She said, lawyer called me and said, get out, just leave. Go. And I didn't know the place to go at the time. Only thing I knew was, because I knew about Tampa, because the woman kept telling me, always called me all the time, telling me about Tampa, because she wanted me to come out there and work for her, because she moved down there and she had a contract with the telephone company down there, and she kept trying to get me to come down there and work for her down there, right? So I knew about that. So when she told me to get out of town, I said, okay. I listened to her, and I left. And I went to Tampa, and that's how I ended up in Tampa, right? And then found out that she told me good, because the demon I was married to went and told the police that I came to her job and threatened her with a gun, which in New Jersey at that time was 6 years immediately in jail if you did anything with a gun, right? But the issue was, she didn't know I was in Tampa at the time. So I proved to the judge I couldn't happen because I wasn't even there, right? Because they were gonna put my ass in jail. See. So I'm just saying, I've had this several times. They come at me. She came, I didn't come to her, she came at me. And I said, I ain't dealing with that. And I ain't never had any kind of intimate relationship with any white girl in America, ever. Never, not once. See? And I knew better than that even before I got cooked up with the Nation of Islam, right? Because but I'm saying, that's the kind of stuff that's going on. But these weak-minded brothers, they don't want to deal with these still sisters. See, that's made of steel, because that's what got us through 400 years of being raped and everything else. Because what they would sneak at the cost of their life to be with your grandfather and your great-grandfather and your great-grandfather to produce you, but now you run around and you want to get master's daughter. Sick. They put their lives at risk, right? So we could still be here today. Because they weren't supposed to have any relationship unless the master says or he had to sanction it. And they would sneak to do it. See, putting their life at risk. And then once you was born, they had to fight to keep you safe. These sisters, they was the warriors, while we was masculated and castrated and everything else. And we wasn't protecting them. That's our job, to protect them. And now we're going to sit around here and piss on them right now and say F you and you bitch and you hoe and all that kind of stuff. That's the way you rolling? Brother, you rolling like that, you better cut your tongue out. Because if you show up in the judgment like that, you better not show up. See? And I've had my trouble with these sisters. I've had a lot of trouble. I've had a lot of demons. But I stick with the sister no matter what. And I've had my troubles with them, believe me. And I ran into a lot of demons too. See, before I really understand the concept of demons, right? But that don't matter. See? Because I'm not going to deal with the emotional side of it. I'm dealing with we deal with reality here. We deal with math. And the point is, those sisters, they are the foundation of our society. And they went through hell more than we did because we were supposed to protect them, we didn't. And like I said, Matt's gonna take and tell her to bring her daughter in. Then she got daughter his sick stuff on him, and then while the daughter watch, and then tell the daughter, and then tell the daughter to go in, and then got to correct the daughter. So, no, honey, you gotta do it this way. And this is what these sisters had to go through. And now you jumping over a million sisters like Kobe, and all these clowns that you just love so much, a million sisters to get one skank. You're going to show up with one on your arm, you might as well not show up at all, brothers and sisters. I'm just letting you know. So I thought I'd put that out there. That's a little something, right? I'm going to go into maybe more detail, more math later on. I'm just giving it general because I said I got a lot of stuff we want to cover today. So let's move on. Okay. Let's just take a small breather here, brothers and sisters, about 2 or 3 minutes. Small breather. Check something out here when I come back, brothers and sisters. I'm going to just check something real quick. Okay. Hang on. Okay, brothers and sisters, we're going to talk a little about the son of perdition problem. Now, the reason why I call son of perdition, son of hell, because his father's hell, his father's the devil. See, so he's son of perdition. See, if you follow the devil, because remember they jumped off. Remember, they jumped off the Empire State Building and they flying, and they thought that was okay because they had no concept of gravity. And you know, actually, Europeans had no concept of gravity before they claim what's his name, Galileo came along, did an experiment, and the Pope said, "Hey man, that don't work." Because the Pope, he was authority. I don't want to go into that kind of situation here, but the Pope says he went. He came with gravity. He also said the sun moved, Earth moved around the sun. They put him in jail for it, you know, so forth, so on, right? Because the Pope was authority back, you know, so that's another story. Anyway, that's why I call him son of perdition. See, so, and that's Farrakhan says he would make war with the saints. They call him the mouth in Daniel, because that's all he was. Farrakhan Aaron was only supposed to be a mouth, a spokesman. And he did okay in Elijah's presence. See, they don't tell you the whole story. When he did all this dirt, this hypocrisy and everything, that came after Elijah's absent, when Moses was absent. See, they say, oh, see, he was good. Yeah, but that was doing while he was in the presence of Elijah, while he was the bullhorn for Elijah. Elijah said he spoke, but when he was on his own, right, he destroyed everything. He turned to Sunnism. He turned the golden calf, right? He tried to turn people's hearts back to Egypt, right? He did all this dirt, and so what happened when Moses came back, he killed all of Farrakhan and his followers. See, they don't tell that part. Read Exodus right there. So anyway, I'm not going to dwell on this too long, right? But the part I want right here, you can read this on your own time. The red part. Like I said, you your audio people, you know, I put the link so you can see the audio version if you care to. This part I want to say right here, right? It says, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation, strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused him both day and night. Who is that accuser? That's Farrakhan. All he does is say, y'all evil, you're sinful, you're evil, you're sin. All you give him, you got to atone, right? You got a demon in you. That's not Elijah Muhammad's teaching. That's not my Muhammad's teaching. Sure ain't my teachings. Because we don't have no demon. We got demons around us and infiltrate us, but demons are people. If you read Mark, you see it's people. But he tell you, no, it's some flaw in your spirit that you got to overcome. That's all he does, accuse. That's all he's been doing, accusing. You got to learn to be righteous like me. See? You're evil. You're sinful. And that's what Aaron did, right? It says it both in the Quran and the Bible. The first thing he said when he got busted, man, you know, it wasn't my fault they was worshiping golden calves. You know how wicked they are, how sinful they are. He's always telling us, so you need Scientology to get rid of that demons. Elijah Muhammad never told any such thing. He said with righteous people, see? With righteous people. He says, well, the devil just brought, the white man, he just brought out the devil that was in you. No, there was no devil in us. If it wasn't devil in us, because they put us in us. See? But then change our nature. See? You can take a dog, right, and make him as vicious as you want to. You see? You're trying to be vicious. That doesn't mean he's vicious. You're trying to be vicious. So they train us, right? Our training with them, but that's not our nature. But he says, Farrakhan said, no, that was in you already. He just brought it out. So now, they're not the devils anymore. See, they're not devils anymore, but we're the devils. You pick up on that? They're not the devils anymore. They can come to NOI, right? And Father's faith, he's not a devil, right? And they can come to NOI. And we should learn to be like them and everything else, right? And we ain't going anywhere. We should fight for America. See, but black people, when he had so-called Million Man March, remember he said one of the things, he did great signs and wonders. He kept talking about this Million Man March. What about the second one? But he did, that was a sign and wonder. He said he would do signs and wonders. See? So everybody said, man, he did a meme. But the point is that the reason why the second one failed primarily because he took credit for the first one, was mostly black preachers that sponsors that thing. See? They brought their membership in. So they didn't support him the second time around because he took credit for something that wasn't his. He's a liar. Oh, see, I did the Million Man March. What about the second one? See, you go to your job and say, hey man, I worked hard all week. Yeah, well, how come what about this week? I hear about what you did last week. You got paid for last week. What about this week? See? So Pharaoh can tell me, oh yeah, well if you did so great, if you could see a movie is good, that means the next time you show it's gonna be better. More people come in. If it was good. So second one should have been greater than the first one. But it was a flop. Because the first was a flop too. Because you got to tone, you got to learn how to be good fathers and all this kind of stuff. Like he's a good father, right? He's all sex with all the secretaries. He pimping the sisters out there, doing fundraisers so he can romp all around the planet with his pretty dresses and his designer glasses. Who he's fooling? Because those so-called brothers with him, they ain't doing a damn thing. They're not selling that rag he called a final call. It ain't foul enough. You know? In emergency, that's why I use for toilet paper. It's not even worth that. It's not even good for that. Piece of junk. And who he prints it? He don't even print it on paper. Tell me he rebuilt the Nation of Islam. The man's a liar. It's like you tear down Empire State Building and you build a little college. You're talking about, well, I rebuilt it. You ain't built shit. I was there. This is not hearsay. I was reading Elijah Muhammad from 70 to 75 when he departed. And I stayed in Chicago all the way to 83. And I know Farrakhan didn't build a damn thing. It's not even a glimmer of what Elijah Muhammad did. Not even a glimmer. He hasn't produced a damn thing. He's been begging for money for 40-some years, ain't produced a damn thing with it. Nothing. Zero. See, he just enriched himself. Because he's a demon. His father's a devil. Just Google his bio. It says his father's name is Percival Clark, and they say he's Jamaican. Some depends on how kind of phone you got. Say Jamaican, that's his nationality, not ethnicity. Ethnicity is a devil. They show a picture of him. He's a devil. So if he's a devil, his father's a devil, he's a devil. I mean, that's biology, brothers and sisters. The sperm came from the man. Nothing in the egg can change that. So the father's a devil, he's a devil. So everybody recognizes that. Biology, scripture, everything. All the nations recognize that. So if you want to be fooled by that clown, continue to be fooled by him. That's your business. Let's move on. Because we're trying to explain everything, so move on here. There's a picture right there. There's father, Percival Clark. See? We also have a link to, he going out there. Google, Farrakhan says father, it could be a Jew. And he follow that link. He says it right in there. He says his father's parents were white, Caucasian, Portuguese. That means his father had to be too. So now he's trying to say, well, Jamaica was straight hair. Well, yeah, but you just said his father and mother was white, Caucasian, Portuguese, probably Jewish. See, he's a liar. That's what it says, a liar. He's always been a liar. He's a coward and a liar. That's why God disemboweled his ass. God does not disavow his message of prophecy. He's not afflicting him anything like that, because that's something you can't recover from. He might chastise him. That's something you can recover from. But you can't recover from that. What you going to do? Grab some, they're using pig organs now, so what, you going to grab some pig organs on him? That wouldn't matter because he's a pig anyway. So it probably work. The graft probably would take. He's a pig anyway. His swine song, remember that? Talking about swine song. Swine song, 55 hours of total bullshit. That's what he served. 5 hours of total bullshit. Okay, now we're going to go back to this angel again. We're going to build this key, right? Now, I'm not going to the details here, but it showed that there was 7 spirits. So we show it says 7 spirits represent us. But then you see when talking about demons, says there were 3 unclean spirits. So 3 of the spirits came unclean because I said half the nation was corrupted because of this raping and everything else. Anyway, spirits represent us. And then it says there was 4 creatures. So the first was like a lion with 6 wings. That's one right there. Second was like a calf with 6 wings. Third one was like a face of a man, 6 wings. The last was like a flying eagle with 6 wings. See? So we're building that key. I'm not sure what the key looks like. So we're building it now. Because that chapter tells you how to build a key. And you need the key to understand the scriptures, because the scriptures are locked under the veil, and you need to break seals of revelation to get the key, and then use that key to unlock all the scriptures. Because you can lock all the scriptures, heaven, beneath, all that. None of those stories are what they seem. You put the key in there, all of a sudden you find what they really mean. So let's move on with this. What happened here? Oops, must miss something. What's going on? Oh, I went the wrong way. Okay. So then it says that the elders, right? Well, that's what happened. Let me backtrack here. Okay. Now, what's happening here is that remember they was all wings, right? What happened is that the puzzle remains the same in the angel. The point is that the picture changes. So if you got a puzzle and you just keep changing the picture, if you learn how to put a puzzle together, then it doesn't matter. All you got to do is, the picture, right? Because then you got different pictures, so the picture gives you different information, right? But you still know how to put it together because you know that's the same puzzle. And that's what it is. The puzzle remains the same. It's just each chapter, the puzzle remains the same. The key remains the same. It's just they have different symbols. So once you know how the puzzle works, right, then you can put it together, or you got to just figure out what the symbols mean. So in other words, you got the puzzle doesn't change, or you got to just figure out what the picture means. That's what's happening here. So here, right, in another chapter, these wings are all called elders. See, they're called elders. Notice that the Caucasians are not called elders because they're new people. They're not original. They're not referred to as elders. But we are referred to as elders. Original nations referred to as elders. See? So they still refer to as wings because not elders. So here we go. See, we refer to as elders. So now you got 24 elders. They're talking about that's 24 because that was the wings. They're elders now. They're called elders. That's where you get 24 from. Now Elijah Muhammad said it was 24 scientists because he never broke the seals. He never claimed he broke seals. He was guessing. We ain't taking anything from him. But I'm telling you exactly what this means. So it said you had the 24. You had the creatures. They was around the throne, and you had 24 elders around the throne, right? And so who's the throne? That's the wings. That's Europeans. Who's the center on the throne? Who's sitting on the throne? Satan, false Israel. That's who Satan is. See, they tell you that's God sitting on the throne. That's not God sitting on the throne. That's Satan sitting on the throne. That's why I said, if you get a transliteral, it says a throne was lying, and it says lying. They call it a lying throne. Like not laying like you're laying down in bed. They actually say lying thrones are false. That's where you use the word lying, like you're telling a lie. That's what, get transliteral. You can get a transliteral from Jehovah's Witnesses. They got the best one for free online. They have the best transliteral translation because that doesn't, nobody's interpretation, their bias not in there. All you do is see the word and change the word to the new language. So that's Satan sitting on the throne. How you know? Because Satan had the book. Now they say that's God. Well, if God had this book that the only Lamb could open, how in the world, why couldn't, remember it said nobody could do it in heavens, earth, or under earth. That means God couldn't do it himself. He wrote the book. So how couldn't he figure out the book that he wrote himself? Why couldn't he figure out the book he wrote himself? Because it wasn't him. It was Satan who had the book. They had this book for 2,000 years, and they couldn't figure it out. So the Lamb figured out. It's Satan sitting on that throne. So we're going to look at it a different way. See? We'll look at it a different way. It's Satan sitting on that throne. See? So we'll look at it this way. So it says, the eagle, he was down on the other ones. Right? Okay. So, okay, I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to come back to that. Got it over here. Let me move something here. Okay. Now look at this. Now it says, see the 24 elders, they was around the throne, and they had crowns upon their head. It doesn't say 24 crowns. Those are the crowns. See, you got to put the whole thing together. Remember, all the pieces have to fit together. That's still the same key. It's just a different construct, but all the pieces are there. All the pieces are there. But it just gives you a different way of looking at it. Right? The puzzle doesn't change. See? So now, we see the elders, they're around the throne. Right? Got the crowns upon their head. And Satan is the one sitting on the throne. They're around him. Right? He got the book. I'm not going to explain it. I can tell you that, but I said I get too far. Those who study angel know what that means, know what the book is. See, it's in his hand. But they didn't know you want. But like I said, if you want to study angel, we got people that's well qualified to teach you the angel. Just let us know. We leave contact information. Let us know. And we got people well qualified to teach you the angel. Right. Okay. That's the Book of Revelations, the unsealed version. Right. So okay, let's look at this real quick. Now, see, I said this reveals everything. Now I'm gonna show you something that you can see easily. Now, the British, didn't they control the Middle East and India for a couple hundred years? That's Britain right there. They dominated that region for a couple hundred years, right? What about Africa? Europeans colonized it for a couple hundred years. That's Africa, the lion. The calf represents India and also the Arabs. What about China? What about Russia? Russia was communist, right? Where they controlled, they dominated that region of the world ideologically with communism. Because you got China's communist, Vietnam communist, Korea, you know what I'm saying? So they can dominate ideology. Is this a coincidence? That's exactly what the angel is telling us. And then what about us? They enslaved us for hundreds of years. America. But now, the two crowns up there, that represents the Shia. We'll see that in a few minutes. They ain't doing any of that. But they're the crowns on top of the heads, right? And said they had white robes. Why did they have white robes? Because they was controlled by white folks. They was controlled by white folks. And Satan was the one, that's why Jesus said, Satan is the God of this world. He's controlling all the nations, all of them. See? So when they praying to Satan. Satan is God of this world. He's controlling all the nations, including America. He didn't say, oh, Jesus, when he was tempting Jesus, I got control of all the countries except America. No, he said, I got control of all the nations. So America's got control of Satan, is under control of Satan too. Satanic is look all the works they've done. Are those God works of Jesus or the works of Satan? Come and stole this country, right? Genocide, wiped out all his people, brought us over here and destroyed us. It says the devils would what? Seek to steal, kill, and destroy. And exactly what they did. Didn't they come over here and steal this land, kill all his people, and brought us over here and destroyed us? Come on, brothers and sisters. Stop the bullshit. So let's go back to this one here. Now, the top of each six is golden. That represents the Islamic part. So in this case, the European part, the Islamic part represents Syria and because they're Caucasian on their maternal side. See? On their paternal side, they're original. So the top part of each nation is gold. And that's why I said the golden crowns, right? See? And so America is God. It's also Eve. I'm not going into detail about that because you need this to break down Garden of Eden. Then you find out that America is actually Eve and Magog is actually Adam, right? We have to explain all that. Then you got Russia, because they also represent the earth, the four corners of the earth. America's two of the corners. America and Britain is two of the corners, right? See? And that's the crowns. And then they cast their crowns down. And I think I got this out of order here. Yeah, I got this out of order somehow. Yeah, I did get out of order. It said they cast their golden crowns down. This represents JCPOA, but I'm not going to go into detail about that, right? So that's what's talking. So we're going to move on, brothers and sisters. Like I said, I got a lot to cover. And so now we're going to talk about chapter 12. See, because Farrakhan they say no, they don't know who these people are. Angel reveals who everybody is. See, I already show you who God, Magog is. I show you, right? Satan, right? The four creatures, which would they represent? See, and we can go in a lot of detail, but I'm giving an overview here, basically. So in chapter 12, it says there was a woman. She had her feet upon the moon, right? In her belly, she had a child. She actually had two children. She had a son and a child, a male child. So I'm not going to go into detail about that, but she actually had two. And then she had golden crowns upon her head. So that's the woman represent. He says that woman represents him or something, the messenger or something. I don't know what Farrakhan's saying. I don't think he knows what he's saying either. Right? So that's the woman. Remember, we're talking about the key here. And then came the dragon. And here's the dragon. The dragon had 10 horns and 7 heads. See, there it is right there. See 10 horns, 7 heads. No, Satan is one of the heads. Okay? And the dragon is that cow there. That's the dragon. See? So it has something to do with Asia. See? So we filling out, brothers and sisters. And then he had a tail, red tail. Fiery red tail. There's the red tail, it's Africa. There's the key. The whole key is filled out. He has 7 heads upon his heads. He has 7 crowns upon his heads. That's the dragon. So that represents authority. That means Europeans had authority. They have authority right now. That's what it's talking about. See? That's what it's talking about. Okay? And then, you see in chapter 13, it says, they worshiped the dragon because he gave his authority to the beast. See? Now the beast represents this Oriental guy. That's China. This represents India. Right? But we're going to go into a little more detail on this in a minute, this India thing. But so this beast, so in other words, America and the Europeans they in trouble now, but this ain't Armageddon. This Ukraine-Russian thing, right? Because Armageddon is going to be sparked in the Middle East, which is going to happen any day now anyway. And that's going to cause the Europeans to go into Armageddon. I'm not going into details about that. And Armageddon is a war between Europeans. There's not going to be a nuclear war, but America will be nuked. So I thought you said, well, if me and you fighting, throwing blows, that's a fight. But if I'm throwing blows and you just taking it, that's a beatdown. So America's going to be beat down with nuclear weapons, but it's not going to be a nuclear war. Matter of fact, Muhammad's not going to allow it to happen. He's not going to allow us to inhabit a radiated planet. So there will be, anyway. So while they're tearing themselves apart, they weaken themselves, and as a result of that, China becomes the new, China and India, that's the leopard in Daniel, yellow with brown spots, they become the new superpowers. And they finish off the Europeans. The Europeans be tearing themselves apart. And so that's why the powers shift. Now they had authority. That's what that means. Okay. Oops, that crown shouldn't be there when I left it there on Satan. So that's just oversight on my part, brothers and sisters. Okay. So let's look at something else. Now we're going to try to figure out what's the demon stuff. Now see right there I was showing the calf. See, because what that's telling you, I'm going to jump a gun here a little bit. What that's telling you is that the house of Saud, so they call it Saudi Arabia. They named that, the British all named it Saudi Arabia. That's a new name because nobody knew who the house of Saud was. See, because the British, they control all that region, then they discovered oil. Right? Okay, so they wanted, whoever got the most energy has the most power. So they wanted to control that oil because remember, Saudi Arabia was the first main source of oil before they start finding in Russia and other places, and Venezuela and all the places else. So that was the main supply. So they wanted to guarantee that oil to the West. So they brought these Indians out of India. They had them roam around the desert for a while to make it look like that where they was from, because nobody heard of the House of Saud, right? And then they ended up giving them power to take over Arabia. Then they call it Saudi Arabia. Bullshit, right? They call it Saudi Arabia. And these was Indians. They were from India. See? They're not Arabs. And they wasn't even Muslim. Right? So they made a deal, and Nixon followed up and Roosevelt followed up too. Right? They all followed up that they would take, I'm not going to the petrodollar, I'm not getting into all that kind of stuff. But if they continue making sure there's a good supply of oil to America and Britain, right, that they would guarantee their throne. And people don't realize they're not even Arabs. But they have control of Arabia, calling it Saudi Arabia. And now that's the dragon. That's the dragon. And I've been saying for years, for 30 years now, the dragon, right, is going to be on American false Israel side against the Muslims. And now we see it's happening. So-called Abrahamic Accord and everything, they all gathering together, go against Iran. So how is so all these people, all of a sudden, they're not supposed to have anything to do with the Jews, right? There's a lot that I can say about that, but I'm not going to fall for the bait. There's too much temptation. A lot I can say about that. I said in my previous one, though, so you can read my previous one, right, on this subject. Okay. So, in this case, and the sixth poured out the bowl of him upon the river, the great Euphrates, and was dried up the water of it in order that he might be prepared the way of the kings from the rising of the sun. And I saw out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the wild beast, out of the mouth of the false prophet, spirits three unclean as frogs. Remember spirits? Unclean, and they are the spirit of demons. So you connect, remember who the spirits are? That's us. And the spirits of demons. So in other words, these are the demons, the demon part of us. Those are transformed into demons, which is going upon the kings of the birth habit to lead together them to the war of the God Almighty. See, that's a little more complicated. Anyway, so demons. See, Revelation defines what demon is. Fire can't tell you, it's a spiritual thing. But he tell you there ain't no such thing as spiritual spooks. But then he tell you these are spirits. There's nothing in the scriptures about to back that up. Because when Jesus confronted them, right, he didn't confront them as spirits. He talked to them. So he talking to spirits. Okay, we'll say we can talk to spirits, right? But he said, come out of them, come out. And they says, we are many. See, so he talked to them. See, and then they said, please don't make me leave out the country. So they spirits, they leave out. Why would they kill and leave out the country? Now they spirits, right? And they said, well, let's go over here to the swine daddies. They want to stay with their swine daddies. They got to fight in Warfare Class, another story, because the demons, they got a rough road ahead of them. Because we're gonna get rid of them. We're gonna separate them. That's what Suleiman first job do: separate them, get them out, and then they're gonna be. We don't want them. Master don't want them, and they're gonna go to war with Master, and that's how they're gonna. That's how they're gonna come to the end, along with Master. So we're gonna identify who they are, because remember, here's the key again, right? So, in this case, you look at each one like a face. So that means where that position right where you see demon is, that's like the mouth, right? So out of the mouth of the beast, that beast, because you had three beasts, you had two beasts and a dragon. All of them had 7 heads and 10 horns, right? The difference is that the dragon had crowns upon his heads. The other beast had crowns upon his horns, and then the other beast had neither. But he was alongside, right, the beast that did. See? So the beast they're talking about here is the lion, that top. So out of the mouth of them, see, that would be a demon here. Remember, these are the black people, right? But so you recognize the white one, that's a demon. Because remember, there was 4. One was white, one was black, one was greenish yellow, one was fiery red. Those are demons. And then that's it. And then out the dragon, out of his mouth, another demon. Out of the mouth of false prophet. That's why I call him false Israel, because Israel was a prophet, they're false. See, another demon. Those are 3 types identified. I said we're going to identify everything. So the angel tells you who the demons are. See, the top one there, that represents Farrakhan. The white one, that represents, because that is, if you read about these Thessalonians, right? See, it says, he would put himself above all that causes God and all this stuff. He was saying Elijah's seat. See, that's Elijah's seat. That's I'm not going to take debate about this, go a lot of detail here. Those of you who know the angel understand this. Those of you who don't, right? Like I said, we have qualified people to bring you up to breast with angel. If you want interested, we leave you a link. Call them, and they will gladly teach an angel if you seriously want to know it. Okay, wait, what happened here? This took off on me. Oh no, what happened? Okay, remember the one down there on Satan, that shouldn't be, that was a mistake on my part, right? So that's when they come, and they're going, and once it happens, they're going to finish off. That's the flood that Noah's flood talk about. Noah's flood is not a flood. It's not a flood of water. It's a flood of humanity, because they're going to amass a 200 million man army. It tells you the angel Who can master 200 million man army? Only India and China can do that. And they're going to drown everybody that's on the earth. This represents the earth down here. So, anyway, brothers and sisters, I'm just giving you highlights, right? So we talked about the story. So why is this different from what I just had? What's the difference? Oh, the crowns part, okay. So I think we got a couple more things to talk about here. Okay, then it talks about chapter 18. And I saw other angels stepping down out of the heaven, having authority great, and earth was lighting up out of the glory of him. See, because this represents earth down there, right? And cried out strong voice, saying, she fell, Babylon, she fell, Babylon the Great. See, Babylon represents America. Babylon the Great represents false Israel, right? So both of them falls. And she became a dwelling place of demons and prison of every unclean and every spirit unclean, right? And that's demons, and prison of every bird unclean have been hated. So what does that mean? What does that mean? See, let's back up for a second. And see here? Well, actually, yeah, what happened? What am I doing? Going the wrong direction. Okay, see here? Here's America, that's Babylon. It's about to fall. It means it falls here, on top of this demon. And here's a bird. Remember that she represents the eagle. That's the bird. Unclean bird because it's Satan. And keep that in mind. There's a demon here. Remember it says it became a habiting place. No, it doesn't say it here. That's on the next page. Then it became a habitation of every unclean bird and unclean spirit. Right? There's an unclean spirit here. There's a bird. And that's America. Right? See? America falls. So now it's dwelling place of demons. It's covering the demon. Right? This is the same time, I'm going to go in detail here, this same time that Suleiman comes and dispatches Farrakhan, son of perdition. When this happened, this is about to happen. This is when America is about to be thrown out of the Middle East. America and false Israel and Britain's about to throw. That's when Mike goes to war with Michael's angels goes to war with the dragon's angels, right? So America's about to be thrown out. So that's what it means. But that's what chapter 18 is telling you. But anyway, so America falls, Babylon falls, right? So we show that right here. So now it's a habitation of demons right now. See? And false Israel, that's abomination of desolation, is taken out, right? So it's down here too. See? So this is covering both of them. That's why it says every unclean spirit and every unclean bird have been hated, right? So that's what's happening. That's why it's dwelling place. That's what it means right here. So America's thrown out. False Israel's gone. It's under here, and Britain is thrown into the sea. This what elders also call the sea, but I'm not going to go into detail about that here, right? So this what happens. See, they're thrown out of the Middle East. False Israel's taken down, which proves that abomination desolation proves that they cannot possibly see Abraham, because that could not happen. Because if they choose Abraham, once they return, they will never be destroyed, never be uprooted. So that means that we are true to Abraham. Because if they're not, then we are. I'm not sure why. I must do something. Okay. Now see here, remember I told you before, I says the top one of every nation is gold, right? There's somewhat exception on the Oriental. I'm not going at here, but the thing is, you see Master Muhammad right there, and when you see the elders on both sides of him, that's Japan. Now we're told that that's where he built the wheel off the coast of Japan, and he's piloting the people that's piloting and operating the wheel are Japanese. So that's a special case I'm not going to. That's why I'm not calling this gold right here. Special case I'm not going to it, right? But the rest of them, I show it. The top one is gold. So when you put that together, right? And there's Arabs. They're the Muslim part of the Asian nation, right? Um, actually, okay. Well, I'm gonna leave it like that, right? Uh, the the Shia, they're the Muslim part of the European nation, right? So when you put that together, remember, Saudi, remember the Hindus, but that also represent the cow, right? So there you get the golden calf. See, you didn't know what the golden calf was, you're guessing. Angel tells us what everything is. The golden calf is Sunnism. And that's what Farrakhan's trying to get the people to worship Sunnism. Exactly what it says in Exodus, and exactly what he's doing. What it says in Exodus, we're trying to get people to worship Sunnism. See? Even though they denounce Master Muhammad and they call Master Muhammad a fraud, they call Elijah Muhammad a liar, but he's trying to get you to bow down Sunnism. And now we know Sunnism, if you understand Angel, is the golden calf. That's where it comes from. Is that it, brothers and sisters? Okay, yeah, well, okay, I'm going to leave it there. Because we cover a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff I could talk about. But I said we cover a lot of stuff, so I hope I didn't confuse anybody. A lot of stuff to think about, to study, right? But I'm doing primarily to show you that we know what those things mean. We can talk about them. And it makes sense. See? It explains a lot of stuff. And we explain a lot of stuff that you didn't know. Now, you might not agree with it, but the problem is you don't have an answer yourself. So how can you disagree with our answer when you don't have one yourself? You didn't know what any of this stuff meant. You know what the dragon meant. You know what the golden calf was. You didn't know what the demons were. You didn't know any of that. None. Zero. You know about the mathematics, about reality. You know none of it. Zero. You're not even close. You hadn't even thought about it. But you say, oh man, that's right. Well, if that's not right, well, if it's not right, then tell us what is right. See how you condemn something when you don't even know anything about it yourself. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So hold on here for a second here. Let's okay. To our audio brothers and sisters. This is the Black Alert segment of the Fire Zone. Black Alert out. Black Alert out, brothers and sisters. Okay, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. Assalamu alaikum.